Hey, welcome to Sprint Final. Today I'm going to do a game review of one of your games that you sent the footage into me, and I'm going to critique it and say maybe where you went right, where you went wrong, and we're just going to try and overall make your game just better so that you can pass that 50% win ratio that we all crave. So today I've got this course, Imola 2020, which I have never played before, but I first like to, before the game starts, I like to go through and just look at the map and see the flow of the course, and each course has a natural flow to it. So if they both start here, let's see how far away this first hill is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, it's 8 away. If you landed on here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you could easily make it over this hill. Okay, so this is a potential breakaway course, but at the end here, if you take a lot of exhaustion, there is enough of a straightaway that people who haven't taken exhaustion could easily come up and pass you at the end. So that's just something to note before we hop into this game. But let's see, all this footage is sent to me by Josh, so I didn't record any of this. He recorded for me so that I could see his cards and be able to make criticisms and praises of what is going on. So he's playing Okoma, and Josh, both their ranking does not match where they are at in their level of play. They're both lower on the ranking at this point, but they've both been #1 in the past. So let's see where Josh is right now. He's got a 7. Okay, so if this were me, I think I would play a 7. His roller, Josh is blue, Okoma is red, and Josh's roller is his roller in the front? Yeah, it is. Okay. I would play a 7 at this point. Yeah, because you got the 9 with the sprinter, and your sprinter would have been able to go in front of the roller. Perfect placement. 1, 2, sprinter right in front of the roller. But, you never know if you're going to get a 9 with your sprinter. To be honest, more times than not, you're going to get a 7 and a 9 with your roller and your sprinter. I don't quite know why. Statistically, I'm not sure if that is an anomaly or not, but I have found that happens a lot. It looks like Josh is wanting to lead out his sprinter in this course. Normally, with this course, with the amount of little climbs that there are, I would probably go with my roller. Josh is counting right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, this is kind of annoying because he went 5 with his roller. He's not going to be able to make it over the top with his roller and sprinter in one turn over this climb. You see, if he had gone 7 and 9, I mean, Okoma back here would have pretty much been screwed. It would have been a really hard thing to catch back on because it would have taken him 2 turns to get over this little climb here. But this is where we're at right now. So Josh chooses to go 4 and a 4 with his roller and his sprinter. So let's see what happens. Okay, so everybody goes 4. Every single rider goes 4. Josh is finding himself stuck in the front, which, he maybe doesn't matter to him because he's leading out his sprinter, it appears. So now he's in this weird spot where he's not going to be able to land on the downhill. So he's going to play a 4 again. Which honestly I think makes sense. The sprinter, 1, 2, 3, yeah. Did he have a 4? Let me go back and check. He did have a 4. I would have gone 4 with my sprinter at that point to make sure that he stays with my roller. I don't want him to I don't want him to get disconnected, especially going up over this next climb. You can see there's another climb here. You don't want your sprinter and your roller to get disconnected. And it's very easy for your sprinter to get disconnected from your roller because, okay, Josh goes through. And he did block him, which I guess was his plan, which worked out really well. To me, I don't know if that was necessarily worth it because the chances that Okoma's roller would have gone 3 and potentially block his sprinter was pretty low. And so Josh was like, well, I can maybe block his sprinter going up over this little climb here, but he had the chance of being disconnected from his roller and not being right up on his wheel. Because, look, if you have Josh's roller is most likely going to go 5 the next turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because there's this red downhill, you know what I mean? And he has a lot of potential 5s in his decks, 5s, 6s, and 7s. So if Josh's sprinter is right behind him, and he goes 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, well, he's just tucked in right nicely behind him. But imagine if Josh's sprinter was back here and Okoma's roller is right here, then he's just kind of leading Okoma's roller out, and Josh's sprinter is behind Okoma's roller, which, again, that placement maybe doesn't matter so much, but in my mind, you want your sprinter even at the sacrifice of maybe gaining a movement with the slipstream, like Josh just did, which was great, turned out great. But there was a great chance that Okoma wasn't going to go 3, and he was going to go 4 instead if he drew it, and Okoma just happened to go 3. Okay, so Josh's roller has taken a lot of exhaustion, so let's see what he is going to do. Okay, he's going to go 2 with his roller, knowing that the other roller and the sprinter behind him are going to jump up ahead of him and he will draft. But Josh, and I forgot, Josh told me about this, he accidentally played a 5 with his sprinter even though his sprinter was on a downhill blue square. So he could have played his 2. That was a pretty big error, obviously, but you can come back from this. It is difficult when it's your sprinter that happens to. Because he doesn't have a lot of 5s, especially if there are a lot of potential hills in the coming course, and that is how this is. So let's see how this plays out for them. I'm going to skip ahead. Josh goes 2, Okoma goes 5, obviously, and Josh goes 5, and oh wow, Okoma's sprinter gets a 2. How is that? How did that possibly happen? Was he trying to land? Oh, maybe he was intentionally trying to land on that. Unless he literally drew all 2s. Wow, that's sad. Oh, he's gonna go with his roller first. Oh, this is a difficult one. What would I do in this situation? This is a terrible draw. Josh just got a horrible draw. Let's look at the game itself here. So Josh is right over here. Josh is right back here. We've got this uphill. Ugh. Can Okoma go over this in one turn? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, he can't. Okay, if Okoma was here and Josh drew this and got a 3, that would be devastating. So I think that Josh should go. Oh man. Sometimes it does make sense to burn your 7, but this doesn't make. Yeah, Josh definitely needs to go 3 here, even though that was a horrible draw. And then Josh needs, I would go 5. It's easier for your roller to catch up with your sprinter than your sprinter to catch up with your roller. Your roller has those medium cards of like 4s and 5s and 6s, so they can catch up easier to the sprinter if the sprinter is playing lower cards. This wasn't terrible. And Okoma goes 3. I think he was anticipating, I think Okoma is desperately trying to hook back on with his sprinter and keep Josh in the front, and I would probably just completely hope over this next hill that the sprinter could catch back on. But okay, so Josh with his sprinter goes 3, right, and then Josh needs to go 6 here. Josh needs to go 6 here and burn it, and it just goes to a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, he's going to be tucked in behind his sprinter. There we go. 3, 4. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so this is an easy decision. Josh goes 2 with his sprinter, and he's going to end up going 5. Okay, and right here, you do have something to consider. It's good to have these options. Josh can play a 3, and it would go 5 because he's on the downhill, but he could also jump ahead and play a 7. And that's always something to consider. Is the position in this situation better than a card? Okay, so if you look over here, if Josh played a 7, he would have 2 7s left, 2 6s, and 2 5s. And the course is, wow, coming to an end. I mean, I'm a crazy player. Like, I really take a lot of risks, but I have a very high win percentage. I would actually consider going 7 here. Okoma most likely is going to go 5 to stay behind Josh's sprinter. But Josh's position here to get ahead, I think actually might be more valuable. I actually think that he should go 7 here, which is not a normal move, but that is a move that I think that I would have done in this situation, because you know that Josh's sprinter is going to go 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So then the next turn, he's most likely, I mean, he's got 3 9s. He could possibly draw a 9 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He would land here. And then Josh could play a 6 or a 7 and tuck in right behind his sprinter. And then they're pretty much guaranteed to make it over this climb in first and second, which in my estimation, if you look at the course with no riders on it, in my estimation, that's actually extremely valuable because it's harder. This is going to be hard to pass. Josh has a lot of 5s, a lot of potential 5s. He's got 2 5s, a 6, and 2 7s at that point. So there's a good chance he would be able to make it over this and get in first. I actually think that that's what I would have done in this situation, because sometimes the position is worth more than the cards themselves. If you play a 7 before somebody else does, you can't underestimate the value of playing a 7 before somebody else plays a 7. If you play a 7 before the other person and they play, say, a 5, well, you've just passed them, okay? And now imagine if you keep playing 7s. Like you play another 7. Well, then they play a 7. They're still behind you. Well, imagine if you play a 6 and they play a 7. Well, they're still not ahead of you. They're in the left lane and you're still in front. Well, imagine you play a 7 at that point. They play a 7. You're still in first. Imagine if you play a 6, if you guys are in the same lane, but you're in the right and they're in the left, and you play another 6 and they play a 7, it took them 2 turns to get in front of you, all because you just played your 7 first. It's very hard to pass somebody, especially when you're going over climbs and you have not that much straightaway left. It's very hard to pass somebody, or it takes 2 turns to pass them. You pretty much would have to have a disastrous turn of just drawing 3s and 4s, but that's unlikely because Josh has a 1 3, 1 4, and only 2 exhaustion, and he has 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 potential 5 cards, or cards that are 5 and above. So if he played a 7 here, the chances of him having just a horribly disastrous turn, especially with these extra blue squares that are up. You've got this one here, you've got this one here, this one here, you've got these are your forgiveness if you draw a bad card. This gives you leeway and forgiveness. So honestly, I think that I would have played a 7 going down that. So Josh is gonna go with his sprinter first. Okay, yeah, you've got to go 9. Which I would have done regardless. And now we're leading Josh's roller out. We've completely committed to Josh's roller at this point. Josh needs to go 7 here. I mean, without a doubt, 7. Don't go 6. He needs to go 7 because he needs to draft up and hold that. Oh, he's gonna go 6. He needs to hold that position. Josh needs to hold his position against Okoma here and move up. See, Okoma moved 6. Josh should have gone 7. Yeah. Josh should have gone 7 because he would have drafted up with his sprinter and he would have been in front of Okoma. Right now, Josh is in the left lane and Okoma is in the right lane, which is really, really important at this point in the race. 1, 2, 3, 4. Josh needs to go 4. Oh man, this is painful. If Josh had gone 7 the turn before and drafted up, he would be able to make it over this climb, this little rise in first and second, but now he's not able to get over this climb in 1 turn, which is painful. Honestly, at this point, I'm burning that 6. I would definitely burn the 6. Yeah, he's gonna go 3 though. I would have burned this 6 and just avoided, just said, well, because right here Josh is thinking, okay, well, I want to go 1 2 3 so that I can land on these blue squares potentially the next turn, and I would be drafting. At this point in the race, I am not thinking of drafting anymore. I'm thinking of, I will sacrifice a few fatigue, a few exhaustion cards in order to gain position. Yeah, see, look, now Josh's roller is all the way in the back, And this is looking pretty grim at this point. Josh's Sprinter... Okay, Josh is going to go with his roller first. Wait, should he even burn his 7? Like, at this point, it's so dire. I don't know if Josh should actually burn his 7, because he's got 3 7s still. He has 3 7s, 2 5s, and a 6. That is crazy on a course. Like, I mean, the course is over. The course is almost over, so there's no way we're going to be able to play all of our cards to, like, their highest value, because you have 3 7s left. These are going to stop you. You know, these climbs here are going to stop you, and that's why on a course like this where there's a lot of variability, like there's a lot of little hills and everything, you really want to play your 7s when you can. Because if you don't play a 7 when you can, like on this straightaway, like if he played a 7 here or a 7 here, you know, at least you got the value of the card. You know, it didn't slow you down to be a 5 or a 6 because of the red uphills. You got to get the full extent of the 7, which is valuable. Now he's going to be in this weird, desperate situation where it's like, look, I just need to stay in contact. So he's probably not going to do that this turn, but the next turn, if he's going up over this climb and he draws 3 7s, he's definitely going to need to play a 7 over this, and he's not going to get the value of that card. So you want to play your 5s over the climbs, your 5s and 6s, and you really want to save your 7s for when you can play them, even if it means that you're going to take some exhaustion. So let's see what he does here. Josh's Sprinter... Josh's roller is going to go 4. Let's advance here. Okay, he played his 2 on the downhill, so he's going to go... Okay, yeah, look at this. That was a great move by Okoma, and that's what I was saying. Like, Josh most likely back then should have burned his 7 in order to potentially draft up in just a bad situation where Okoma goes 5. And like, we could have anticipated this back here. You know, in this position that Josh's Sprinter is going to go 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, what if Okoma goes 5? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's got a single gap here. The chances of Okoma's Sprinter, who's behind his roller, getting a 5 is pretty low because he only has 3 in his deck and has probably taken a ton of exhaustion. Now Josh is stuck not being able to draft up. He literally should have burned his 7 at that point in order to put, you know, it's just a chance. Like, hey, look, there's a chance that that's going to happen, and it did. So you almost have to do that. So now Josh's Sprinter, he's got 2 9s, which is great. But he's got so much exhaustion. Now he's just leading out Okoma's roller. So there is a chance that he could still win with his Sprinter, but this is not an... Wait. What's going on here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, yeah, now Josh needs to play a 6. You do not play that 2. Play the 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You need to play the 6. I don't even care if the 2 saves something. Like, you need to... Yeah. It's crazy how many 7s are left, and 6s and 5s at this point in the game. Like, this stuff should have been played a long time ago. 5. Okoma burns a 7. See, that was a great move by Okoma. Burning his 7s to just keep that distance. If that's what he has to do, that's what he has to do. He needs to stay in contact with the Sprinter. He needs to get over the top of this in first place. Okoma understands the value of getting over this hill in 1 turn. Josh is now stuck at a 5, and he would be at the top of this climb, not able to play his high cards down. And Okoma understands this, so burned his 7 to be able to get over this climb with Josh's roller behind him, not over the climb. And he's able to contest with Josh's Sprinter at this point. And again, Josh's Sprinter could still win if he got... Josh needs to play a 7, yeah. Josh's Sprinter could still win. I mean, if he got the perfect hand, the perfect cards, he could still win this. But it's not going to be easy. Josh's Sprinter has 2 9s left, and so there is a chance, but Okoma's roller just has no exhaustion. I don't think that he has hardly any exhaustion. So let's progress. Yeah. Josh is not going to be able to get over the climb. Okoma's sprinter is just suffering in the back. Now it's just a matter of playing every high card that you possibly have. This is the end game. So let's see what happens. Does Josh... Yeah, that's so sad. There's still a chance. I mean, that's the beauty of this downhill. Unless Okoma has a 7, Josh is going to be in contact with him still, and then be able to get around him with his 9 if he gets it next turn. Oh, he got a 7. Let's count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, that's so painful. I thought that Josh was going to be able to cross the finish line if he had a 9, but he's not. Josh is not able to get a 9 and cross the finish line. Yeah. So let's see what Okoma's wheeler gets here. Everyone's just playing their highest card possible. They're going to advance. He gets a 6 and does not cross. Okay, wow. Josh gets a 7, plays his 9. Okoma's sprinter is just devastated. It's so sad. All right, so it comes down to who's going to draw the highest card here. The thing that you have to take into account at this point in the game is that Josh's 9 with his sprinter basically only means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because the course actually has a limit. It doesn't eternally go. So a 9 gets sacrificed to a 5, and Okoma hasn't taken much exhaustion at all in this game, and so the chances of him being able to play a 5 are extremely high, and he's in the right lane, so he would win this game. So that's also something to think about, that you can't just keep, yeah, well, he drew a 2, but you can't just keep sprinting ahead and, oh, I've got a 9, and it's going to necessarily matter at the end, because if you're right next to the finish line and you play a 9, it's going to go to a 5. I am very, very curious who's gonna win this game. I mean, it's going to be, yeah, he gets his 4. He got, that was a great game, because Josh still had a chance to win, just didn't grab the cards that he needed at the end because his sprinter had taken just so much exhaustion. If he could have coordinated his riders a little bit better and sacrificed, you know, his 7s, or just played his 7s on the blue downhills like we said earlier, maybe played 2 of those 7s to gain those movements, because if you don't play a 7, you don't have the 7. Or if you play a 7 on a uphill, then it goes to a 5 and you don't gain those 2 movements. That's not always necessarily the worst thing in the world to play a 7 on an uphill if you have to stay in contact, or to make sure that the next move you guaranteed get over the climb with the group. That's a good time to sacrifice the 7. But if you keep the 7s in your deck, it's more likely that you're going to have to sacrifice the 7s going uphill, because they could pop up in your hand when you draw. If you remove those 7s, like maybe if you just keep 1 7 in your deck and you have more 5s and 6s, well, it's less likely that those 7s are going to come up on the uphill. You're most likely going to get a 6 or a 5 instead, and then you don't have to sacrifice the 7. That's always what I think. Play the 7s when you can, even if it's on a blue downhill, and you're like, oh shoot, I'm gonna lose, I could save movements on the blue downhill by going maybe 3 or 4. Yeah, but if you save the 7, you could potentially lose the movements with the 7 later because you're not playing it, or because you're playing it or sacrificing it like Josh had to on the red uphill. And so he lost those movements. You know, he gained the movements on the downhill, but then he lost the movements again on the uphill because he had to sacrifice his 7. So it was a great game. Okoma played a great game. He did a good job sacrificing his 7s when he had to, and that's what made all the difference in the world. Thank you guys so much for watching. I want to set up something for you guys to send me your 2-minute game footage, and I would love to review these more. So thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Bye.